your Baltimore Orioles.
Oh my goodness!
On Bassett.
Goodbye! Walk-off home run!
And streaming live on the Bassett app.
Grand slam!
It all starts right now.
Happy Easter Sunday, and a spectacular Sunday it is from Oriole Park at Camden Yards. This 8-game homestand ready to come to a close. Families from all over, kids of all ages and bunny ears of all orange hues. At the ballpark for a series finale, the Orioles in search of another series win. They host the Cincinnati Reds. Thanks for being with us on this Sunday afternoon. Kevin Brown, the Hall of Famer, Jim Palmer with a win. The Orioles would have another win streak. They'd win 4 out of 5, and they're trying to do so after a wild Saturday where we saw things we've never seen in an Orioles game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. The Orioles facing Hunter Green, arguably one of the best, pitchers, the young pitchers in baseball. They had back-to-back home runs to lead off the game. Then you have 2 sets of back-to-back home runs off 2 different pitchers. The way that happens, of course, you got to knock out Green. They did. He only went 3 innings, and then you have Ramon Laureano. I mean, it was kind of the game of the Ramones. He hits 2 home runs. Urias plays the other Ramon, great couple of double plays at third. So, again, offensively, 5 home runs. They hit 2 on the first game. But again, I mean, it all starts with Cedric got 6, then a little split. Henderson hits his 2nd home run. Here's Laureano's first one. He makes some great plays. Westberg's 0 for 30. He gets out of his slump. There's a bomb. So once again, you want to beat the Reds. They're a pretty good offensive club. Score some runs. They win 9-5.
See if the Orioles can do it again. Ramon's back in the lineup for this Sunday matinee. Hope that hydration station was well cleaned yesterday. The Orioles played a game of home run derby, beat Cincinnati 9-5, and a chance for a series win. Charlie Morton trying to turn this tough start around.
Yeah, again, I mean, a very accomplished pitcher. He's 41. Again, he's not thrown like he's 41 now. He's pitching like he's 102. He's just had a really bad start. You can see inflated ERA. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're only hitting 150 in runners in scoring position. You're going, how does this ever happen? So fastball, curveball. The curveball usually his best pitch. They're now 10 for 23. There they are at curveball. Last year threw it 42% of the time. This year a little bit less. It's certainly, as you look at the batting average, not doing well. Only the four-seam fastball, and still carrying at 841. Outstanding velocity, maybe not command. So we'll see if that gets a little bit better today against a they hit 2 3-run home runs, talking about the Reds, and yesterday they had 17 opportunities with runners in scoring position.
Charlie Morton, TJ Friedel, away we go on this Easter Sunday. First pitch strike. Friedel 4 for 4 yesterday. Cincinnati, they've been playing some long ball of their own. 4 different players have homered in the series. Actually 5. Jeimer Candelario not in the lineup today. 135 first pitch, 72 degrees. Hazy, sunny, bright, and a lovely day, April the 20th, 2025, for Terry Francona's Cincinnati Reds against Brandon Hyde's Baltimore Orioles. Friedel aboard all 5 times yesterday. We'll check his swing on a breaking ball, and that's a big question for Charlie Morton right now. He feels like the stuff is good, the movement is good of his pitches, except he just can't figure out this breaking ball yet, which has been one of the best pitches for anyone in baseball over the last several years. Throw it again. Friedel grounds it to second. That's a good start. Gets it out on the curveball on a roll over to Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, taking a look at the defense for the Orioles. Laureano made a nice play, throws well. Mullins runs him down. O'Hearn, boy, he's what? Right field the first game, first base yesterday. Urias, Gold Glover, Henderson, Holiday, Mountcastle back in the lineup, and then Adley Rutschman, second consecutive day behind the plate.
There's a running two-seamer, strike to Matt McLean. Cincinnati 16th in the majors, 4.4 runs per game. They don't have great numbers offensively except with runners in scoring position. Second best team by OPS with runners in scoring position. A sky-high fly is into left center field. This is Mullins' ball. He retires Matt McLean. Now 1 for 10 in the series.
Yeah, that one, a 3-run home run on Friday night off of Cade Povich. Yeah, the last game didn't give up a run against the Guardians to the 3rd inning, and then got roughed up in the middle inning, second time through the order. So again, get De La Cruz out. He's going to try to steal a base if he gets on, and that ball just a little high. As we know, Trip Gibson, the home plate umpire.
De La Cruz a little late on a changeup. Ellie is 2 for 9 in the series, 3-run home run, a walk, 4 strikeouts. Trip Gibson leads the crew today. Crew chief Marvin Hudson pushed over to 3rd. Check swing. De La Cruz could not check it. 1-2. '23-year-old switch hitter, 3rd big league year against the 41-year-old right-hander in his 18th big league season. Tried to get Ellie on a curveball there.
Yeah, ideally you do not, 2 left-handed hitters, try to throw that curveball down and in. And I think that's where he's gotten some trouble. Friedel, he was able to throw one down and in, missed, and then made a really good pitch, got the ground ball down and away. So that's kind of where you'd like to stay. And once again pulls it inside.
Ellie De La Cruz 0 for 5 with a walk, 3 strikeouts in his career against Charlie Morton. Led the majors in strikeouts a year ago. Ellie did 218, but he did steal 67 bags at 25 homers. 3-2, and he will walk. Charlie kept trying to spin that curveball in there, missed with 3 in a row. So the walks preceding the big events, that's been the issue. It hasn't necessarily been the home runs. It's been the home runs after a walk.
Yeah, and that's what happened against the Red Sox. Bregman hit one, and then Christian Campbell hit one. I think he was a little, annoyed especially after the Red Sox game, and where he said, well, you know, they did get on, but yeah, if you walk guys and then throw a home run, and again, it's always what happens. Walks don't kill you. It's what happens after the walks. I mean, that's why yesterday, the Orioles walked nine batters, but what happened after the walks, the best team in baseball hitting with runners in scoring position only went 4 for 17. Otherwise, they would have put a lot more than 5 runs on the scoreboard.
De La Cruz now 6 for 8 steals on the year. There he goes.
Yeah, don't even think about it. I tell you, Adley throwing so much better. I mean, it's like he's been reborn as far as his ability with velocity wise. Pop time has been fabulous. He pulled a couple of throws, but this is a really good jump. Guys throw 65 bases, and you could see they almost throw him out, even though he kind of gets that jump, a huge jump.
De La Cruz stole 2 in the 7th inning yesterday, so his 3rd steal of the series. Runner at second, and a swing and a miss on the cutter for Austin Hayes.
So you got a fastball hitter. He can hit a hanging breaking ball, but not the good one. And as we mentioned, the amazing thing, you have an 8-something ERA, and they're only hitting 150 with runners in scoring position. And the league average usually in the, last year I think it was 252. Give you an idea of what, so it's 100 points lower than what the league average usually is.
Tracks out to 3 for 20 against Charlie Morton, runners in scoring position, and he's going to try to get Hayes with De La Cruz in scoring position here. Fastball for a strike. It's 3-2.
Yeah, nice little two-seamer that comes back, and Austin Hayes gives up on it. Catches the top of the zone.
Austin, the 7-year Oriole, with a hit in all 5 games of his Reds career, signed a 1-year $5 million deal with a mutual option in the offseason. 3-2 pitch to him. Breaking ball not close. Morton has walked 2 in the first. It's not the first time that's happened this year. The Oriole bullpen beaten up and beleaguered after yesterday. Brandon Hyde used 7 relievers. This is probably going to have to be a day where Charlie Morton eats as many innings and throws as many pitches as he can.
Yeah, they're going to have a bullpen game, so it's Charlie against the Reds bullpen, so to speak. Well, one of the things when you have a curveball, and I mean, as we mentioned, he threw 40 of them. It's, I guess, arguably his best pitch. And maybe mine wasn't quite as tight as his is, but you have to pick a point on the catcher, whether it's his left shoulder, whether it's above his left shoulder, and when you do, that's when you can release the ball and it gets into the strike zone. I'm having a problem doing that. And there's a changeup that misses. Luck's a tough out because, as you mentioned yesterday, Kevin, he makes contact. And another guy that's 7 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Former #1 draft choice out of the Dodgers organization. Probably still be playing with the Dodgers if he didn't have that ACL tear in spring training. He missed a whole year. 2023.
Part of the World Series team a year ago, Gavin Lux, who's readjusting his elbow guard here. 20 pitches in the first inning, 11 balls for Charlie Morton, who's walked the last 2. He's not commanding his curveball. Throws a cutter over to second base, and Charlie gets out of it. So didn't have great command, but still strands a pair. Mullins, Henderson, Rutschman coming up for the O's. jumped up to 5th in the majors, 4.8 runs per game. And 30 home runs, tied for 4th home runs per game in the majors. Cedric Mullins leading the way with 6. He hit one of 5 Oriole home runs yesterday. Henderson, Westberg, and Laureano with 2. The others. So bullpen day for Cincinnati. And Brent Suter, one of their 2 lefties, will be the first man in line, the 35-year-old out of Harvard University.
Yeah, not a hard thrower. His average fastball, at least baseball savant, right around there, 85, 86 miles per hour. Strike thrower. Been around forever. First 7 years with the Brewers. And again, not a high draft choice, out of, as you mentioned, out of Harvard. 31st round back in 2012.
Mullins jam, lofts it over the mound, and there's going to be no play. Oh, there is a play for De La Cruz. He made it somehow. That looked like a no-doubt hit the way Cedric runs, and Ellie De La Cruz got him at first, though the Orioles are taking a look. And they will challenge.
Yeah. You know, he gets jammed. He's safe. Puts down. Well, that's the way I see it.
And it's the way the Orioles see it.
Yeah,
They're using their challenge first batter they send up to the plate in the game.
You get an idea. You know, they talk about what
Baltimore's challenging the out call at first base.
What, 28 errors for Ellie De La Cruz last year, but he made spectacular plays. Unbelievable how he was able to get to that ball and make it even close.
This is your Hyundai Manager's Challenge with a brand new Hyundai. There's joy in every journey. It's a high risk one here. If you don't get this challenge right, you lose it for the game. But the Orioles sure look like they're going to get this overturned. Again, watch the foot before the ball's in the glove. Well,
yeah, I mean, does the heel get down? Because if it does,
that's my question.
Yeah. Now the toe is still maybe in the air. Yeah, see, the heel's on the base. Now, I don't know if they'll see that in New York, but it looks to me the heel's down as the ball goes into the glove. And remember the first year it had to be, was the ball had to be all the way into the glove or on the outside of the glove. So the challenge system has gotten a lot better.
Now, when does the ball contact the interior of the fielder's glove? That's the standard here. Boy, the call on the field of out is concerning here the longer this takes.
Yeah. It just looks like the heel gets down. Now the toe's still up in the air, but the heel's on the base. Then we'll see if they see it that way. But again, De La Cruz making it close is just pretty amazing. Because it's a jam shot, a lot of spin, able to barehand it. That's difficult in itself.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is safe. Baltimore will retain their challenge.
Ooh. That's got to probably be the softest hit that Cedric Mullins gets in a while. A jam shot. Looked like a little 60-degree wedge.
You want to guess the exit velo on that one?
56 miles.
42.
42. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow, Jackie Robinson.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
So Suter got some very weak contact, which he tends to do. Not a hard thrower, but he allows a lot of soft contact. But the Orioles catch a break, and here is Gunnar Henderson. And there is Suter to first, and Mullins just beat the tag of Steer.
Well, he's a big guy. You know, I mean, I always thought he started a game for the Brewers against the Orioles, I think on the 4th of July, probably 3-4 years ago. He's had like 44 starts in his career.
10th big league year, was a full-time starter in 17 and 18, or mostly full-time with Milwaukee. Since then, he's been just about a full-time reliever. He was the opener for 3 games for the Reds last year, but none of them lasted longer than an inning. However, he can go 2-3 innings.
Yeah, the most pitches he's thrown this inning or this year is what, 36. And the interesting thing, that soft base hit, he had his last 4 games, he had not given up a base hit. So that's the first hit he's given up, and it kind of sets the tone. Open up some holes when you get somebody on that can steal bases. I don't think he'll be running on Suter, though.
You saw the move. Brent Suter, this is a pretty amazing number for a guy who's largely been a reliever. He's got 17 career pickoffs, and he's only allowed 12 career steals.
Yep.
Now he's thrown over twice.
Well, one of the great, I mean, there have been a lot. I played with Scotty McGregor. I talked to today. He's out in Nevada. Had a great pickoff move. Mike Flanagan. Then there was always Andy Pettit.
More soft contact. De La Cruz got the out at second on Mullins. So Henderson replaces Cedric at first on a 6 unassisted fielder's choice.
Well, he's lucky he's 6'5" and he's agile. Well, question is, was the hand back in the glove? Can't tell from that angle. I mean, he certainly tags him. And I guess he finally gets it in because they were separated early on.
One-on-one out. Here's Adley Rutschman.
It's two of the softer hit balls after 5 home runs yesterday.
Yeah. For Mullins, that is the softest base hit of his career outside of bunts, the one he had. 42-mile-per-hour jam job, and Gunnar hit it at 59 miles per hour. Again, 95 is the hard hit threshold. You're just not going to see a lot of that against Brent Suter. Rutschman tried to snap it 0 for 19. And there's a check on Henderson. So Brent Suter getting the start here. The Orioles throw out what will be their typical lineup against righties today, with 3 of the first 4 left-handed. And the Reds have one other lefty in the bullpen, Taylor Rogers. Taylor Rogers really becomes one of the most important players in the game because Terry Francona is going to have to wait for the right moment to utilize him. Otherwise, it's a right-handed group for a lineup that has, as we know, crushed right-handers this year.
But the reason you have so many lefties in there is because Suter's only going to probably pitch 2 innings. Orioles would like to maybe abbreviate that.
3-1 for Rutschman. And that ball's popped up to left. Gavin Lux gets to it. So let's take a look at Cincinnati's bullpen. Now they're in much better shape because only Rogers threw yesterday, but all these other relievers have thrown 2 of the last 4 days, except for 32-year-old Randy Winn, not the former Tampa Bay Devil-Ray outfielder who joined the team today. StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud.
And Wynn was a starter down at their AAA Louisville affiliate. He had 4 starts down there, so he can pitch multiple innings.
1-0 for Ryan O'Hearn, getting a rare left-on-left start. The Orioles also added to their bullpen today. They sent Brandon Young down after his major league debut, and they called up Cody Poteet because the Orioles used 7 relievers yesterday. So they got an extra long man down there. O'Hearn to the right side, hit well on a hop, and McLean retires O'Hearn. So the opener Suter with a scoreless first in this bullpen game. Our Maryland Lottery Fast Play contestant of the game, Michelle Miner from Glen Burnie, has won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run, $5,000 for every Orioles grand slam today. Learn how to be the Fast Play contestant of the game at mdlottery.com/home run. Charlie Morton had trouble with the curve in the first inning, but got out of it despite two-out walks. Spencer Steer bats. Morton threw 9 curveballs in that first inning, only 1 for a strike. That was grounded out to second by T.J. Friedel. The other 8 out of the strike zone. The Reds did a good job not chasing, but Charlie made the right pitch at the right time to get Gavin Lux to roll over a cutter and end the inning. Struggling Steer, 1 for 23, 10 strikeouts in the last 6. And he was 0 for 4 with a walk and 4 strikeouts on Friday.
And when he's on his game, he's going to, it gets on, he will steal some bases and also hit 20 home runs last year.
Steer, little tapper. Long charge in for Urias.
Yep. But as always, seems to get there.
What a fine homestand he's had.
So he's coming in because your first move, if you're playing that deep, is on the balls of your feet coming towards home plate. And again, scurries and then a really good throw.
Here's Jake Fraley, who had a great day. And the second inning yesterday, he launched the first Reds home run ever onto Utah Street. That's only the Reds' 3rd trip to Camden Yards, but somebody had to be the first to do it.
Hit Boog's barbecue car out there.
He did indeed.
Dented the the right front fender. Boog's not happy. We were talking to him on FaceTime. He's a little upset about it. He said, just put sandwiches on there and people will be crowding around, and so they'll get hit, not the car.
So here's a long ball from Fraley, which was rather more impactful than we thought. Right off of the car, right next to the Boog's barbecue stand, and went 429 feet projected. And yeah, there it is. There's the sizable dent, courtesy of Jake Fraley, on the Boog's barbecue mobile. So a lot of balls that go on Utah Street, well, every ball that goes on Utah Street gets a plaque where the ball is hit. As Jake Fraley walks, I wonder, will his plaque be on the car? Could you put the plaque on the ground if it hit the car on the fly?
Well, yeah, you could put it underneath the bumper. Otherwise, it will not have any long. I mean, it might move the car, right?
I guess so, but yeah, maybe it'll be a hidden plaque. Maybe the plaque will be on the car.
That car plays well in Key West.
As long as nobody dents any of Boog's boats in Key West.
No, as long as nobody dents Boog.
He's undentable. Noelvi Marte,
wow.
curveball.
Oh, come on. He's not throwing it over. Help him. Call it a strike.
Boy, you're in a generous spirit today, aren't you?
Well, I thought that was a strike.
It may have been right at the bottom of the zone.
Well, that counts, Kevin.
Well, let me ask you this. If you were having a day where you weren't throwing strikes, I know early in your career you had a lot of walks. Do you feel like umpires would squeeze you a little more if your command was
you got to
worse?
earn them, yeah. Well, one of the ways of earning strikes is where the glove is, hit it. It's pretty simple.
Yep.
That's what we were taught. Glove is right there. See, outside.
Went up and in, and it's grounded through the left side. Noelvi Marte, who's just 1 for 12 on the year with a sharp single.
But he got a fastball in the middle of the plate. And these guys, and we've seen him 2 games now. Some guys coming off injuries, young hitting ball club, but They hit the ball in the middle of the play. You can see, I mean, it's a great angle. Whatever that camera angle is, it shows you exactly where the ball was. So belt high in the middle of the plate, gets hit hard.
Well, this is our second Austin reunion of the weekend. We've seen Austin Hayes 3 times, and now former Oriole Austin Wynns, who is the Reds' backup catcher, 34 years old. Wynns has been hanging around for a while after playing for the Orioles parts of 2018, 19, and 21, 115 games in 3 years. He's been with the Giants, Dodgers, Rockies, and now Reds in the big leagues.
Yeah, very good defensively. You know, you hang a breaking ball, once again get a ball in the hitter's count. This is 2 for 3, just like the rest of them, hitting well with runners in scoring positions in limited at bats. So he can look for whatever he wants to look here. Probably sit on a fastball, probably get a curveball. That's what Morton would normally throw.
And it's a fastball smashed through the left side. Fraley will be waved in, and Laureano's throw's cut off. So after Austin Hayes came back and drove in a run yesterday, Austin Wynns with an RBI single today, and Cincinnati strikes first.
Well, counts count. We talked about that Friday. Hitters, you know, maybe they're not A students, but when you get behind them, they become A students because they can look for what they want to look for. You know, I think that maybe last year you probably would have looked for a curveball because his curveball was that much better. And as you mentioned, not throwing that curveball over for strikes. Just looks like his arm angle's a little askew, or he's a little bit out of rhythm. Ball's running more than it normally would. Great to have movement, but it's got to move either into the strike zone or the illusion that it is a strike and then moves out of it.
Drew French is out for his first visit as Austin Wynns catches up with an old teammate, Ryan Mountcastle.
Now, a friendly guy, I always shook his hand the other day. I said, don't break my hand like you used to. Yeah.
Well, it's now 11 curveballs thrown, 10 out of the zone by Charlie Morton. The Reds have not swung at any of them.
And that's probably why Austin Wynns was sitting on a fastball.
Yeah.
I mean, he could afford to do that. Got it. Again, it was in the middle of the plate.
So Friedel, he gets a fastball, pops it up. Laureano will be first on the scene.
Well, there you go.
That's where Charlie Morton wants that four-seamer, right at the top of the zone. He's been hitting the top of the zone more this year with the four-seamer.
I mean, that's pretty much right down Broadway. Well, here, Pratt Street, whatever you want, Lombard.
West Camden Street, maybe?
Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't right down Utah Street. Strike one. There's the first curveball since the first batter in the strike zone.
Yeah, McLean did that on Friday night. Hit one into right center up into the bleachers. So he's got a little power. Missed all of last year with a shoulder problem. Labrum tear.
1 for 10. The one was that 3-run homer. He's walked in the series as well. Was first rounder of the Reds 4 years ago out of UCLA. Got some National League Rookie of the Year love. Finished in 5th in 23. 0-2. Right down the middle. My goodness. Froze him. And Charlie Morton's first strikeout ends the second inning. The Reds score 1, but strand 2. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by Tower Federal Credit Union. Tower Federal, your hometown credit union for over 70 years. And by Maryland Public Television Chesapeake Bay Week, April 20th. That's today through the 26th. That's Saturday. Check out their lineup of shows today. 1-0 Cincinnati, rubber game. Fluttering strike from Brent Suter to Ryan Mountcastle.
Yeah, that changeup right around 74, 75 miles per hour. About 11 miles per hour, 10 miles per hour slower than his fastball. Yeah, the Orioles really struggling against lefties. You know, they're the 1-4 record-wise, but they've hit 2 home runs in what, 158 at bats. So obviously, well, will take a dump double down the right field line, anything. So, like we mentioned, the most pitches that Suter has thrown this year, 2 innings, 36 pitches. You know, Terry Francona wants them to get through this inning quickly, maybe get another inning out of the lefty. And the Orioles would like to get the pitch count up and get runs on the board.
Orioles the second best team against right-handed pitchers, second worst against lefties by OPS. And Mountcastle over to the right side again. Steer, playing his first game this season in the field, takes it himself.
Who is the worst? Do you know?
Against lefties?
Yeah.
The interns are on it. Do you have a guess?
White Sox.
That's a pretty good guess. No, it's Minnesota Twins.
Really?
460. They're hitting 141.
Yeah.
The Twins are hitting 214 as a team. They are off to a 7-14 start. They're not hitting lefties or righties. 1-1 to Jordan. Westberg snapped out of that career-long 0 for 30 with a home run yesterday. Spoke to the media before the game. He used the word grinding a lot. Grinding his way through it, grinding in the cage. He is one of those guys, a baseball grinder. Very serious guy on the field. Plays with an edge. He's been banged up a little to start the year, just trying to fight his way through it.
Well, you would think this would be a good matchup because, you know, he struggled against. We get all the numbers. I mean, he's hit 108 against fastballs, 4 for 37, no home runs. All his home runs have been against breaking balls. And that's what he hit yesterday. Get out of that 0 for 30. That's what he hit up in Toronto. So you're hitting 8 for 21, pretty nice batting average. And then change-ups, 0 for 10. And that's why he's been struggling. And I find it, there's got to be a mental component only, or maybe a physical that we don't know about, because he uses the middle of the field too much.
That ball sizzled the other way to the right field wall, off the scoreboard. And Westberg has another extra base hit. A 1-out double.
See, that's what he does. And of course, Suter, as we mentioned, I mean, he tops out at 86 miles per hour. So he's comfortable if he makes a mistake, gets the ball up. And Jordan Westberg last year, if you got the ball up in the strike zone, he's probably one of the better high ball hitters on the O's. And you can see it right here, just nails it off the scoreboard. Thought about 3, but a nice play by the right fielder to keep him at second base.
His first double of the year. He had 4 home runs before that first double, and it comes in plate appearance number 75. Last year he had 26 doubles in 107 games. Jackson Holiday, and an 0-2 count. Last year you nicknamed left center field Westberg Alley at one point because Jordan was wearing it out so much, and that's what he's going to do. Hit the ball up the alleys, hit the ball the other way. He'll be picking up a lot more doubles before this year is out.
And Suter, as we mentioned, he's a tall guy, 6'4", 6'5". He's right on the inside of the first base side of the rubber, and then he throws across his body. In other words, he steps right towards the Orioles dugout. So if you're a lefty, he's throwing really almost behind you.
Holiday waits back, and De La Cruz steals a hit.
Wow.
An extraordinary play by an extraordinary player.
Pretty special right there, isn't it? Now, I don't know if you're going to score a run because you don't want to get doubled up. You can see Westberg going back, but that ball is going at least be first and third. Now you have a runner at second and 2 outs. These are the type of plays that save ball games. And like I said earlier, it helps to be 6'5" with great agility.
Brent Suter was hopping off the mound like he had just closed the World Series. What an amazing athlete he is, Ellie De La Cruz. He just does not look human when he does stuff like that. Strike one to Ramon Urias, chasing a high fastball.
I mean, that ball was on the other side of second base. Obviously shifted way up the middle.
So Ramon trying to bring in the game's first run. .420 on base percentage to start the year. He's a little behind a changeup.
Yeah, perfectly thrown on the corner. Slider, cutters in, changeups away. Every once in a while, fastball.
So Brent Suter, 35 pitches. There's nobody up in the Reds bullpen. They're hoping he can get through at least 2 for this bullpen day. A lot of the relievers have rested the last 2 days. They needed to. Suter the first to take the ball, and Urias hangs in there.
Yeah, the ability, again, because of the angles, being tall and steps, the other side and then throws back across his body. And then it looks to me his fastball cuts a little bit, so it's almost like a cutter.
Westberg at second. And a fading changeup runs the count full to Ramon Urias, with Ramon Laureano, yesterday's home run hero, on deck.
Well, Ramon over 300 with runners in scoring position. One of the better numbers for the Orioles other than Cedric Mullins.
To the left side. It's Marte from third. Not an easy one. And Steer couldn't pick it, and the game is tied. A low throw from Noelvi Marte. And Spencer Steer, playing his first game in the field this year, could not dig it out.
Well, you had the good, and now you got the bad and the ugly right there. Routine, all kinds of time. Hit ball sharp, get it, take your feet. I mean, did everything right except the throw bounces. And as you mentioned, Steer, I mean, this is a tough play. And Suter figures I better go back up. So that ties it up. A gift run.
Look at where Westberg gets here, right past Marte as he gets set to throw it. 2-0 for Laureano. You think Westberg had much to do with that throw being offline?
You wouldn't think so.
Laureano out of play. Young third baseman Noelvi Marte, only his 4th start of the year at third. And against Steer, he did start 56 games at first base last year. He's been recovering from a shoulder injury. They've been easing him back in as the DH. It's an E5 for the Orioles to tie the game. Cincinnati team that's been really good defensively this year.
And their bullpen gets up, and of course that prolongs the inning. And Suter just stays.
And it's Ian Gibaut, one of 7 right-handers on the Reds bullpen today. So Ramon Laureano not starting yesterday. He came in the 2nd inning. Heston Kjerstad was drilled by a 100-mile-per-hour Hunter Green fastball. Look at Ramon. He's ready to hit right now. The umpire, Trip Gibson, was with his back turned to the batter. He's locked in. And Laureano came off the bench after Kjerstad got hit. And homered twice. 5th Oriole ever with a multi-homer game off the bench. And he was about 10 feet away from a 3-homer game. 3-2. Little jam shot. This will be a lot easier for De La Cruz. Maybe the play of the year we've seen so far earlier in the inning, but the Orioles tie it. Is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. We came into this series ready for a showcase at the shortstop spot, and we have seen that. Gunnar Henderson and Elly De La Cruz have delivered. Henderson with a home run and a double yesterday. De La Cruz with a home run on Friday night, and with that amazing lunging, tumbling catch, which robbed Jackson Holiday of a hit in the second. Elly starts the third 1-1 against Charlie Morton. Signed for $65,000 in 2018. Pretty good deal by the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, his next deal will, because his agent is Scott Boras, will probably be a little more significant.
Morton walked him in the first inning. And Morton's not going to walk him here. Elly De La Cruz with his second home run of the series.
Yeah, the first one, a 3-run shot hitting right-handed. So obviously a switch hitter. Hit 25 of them last year. Big, tall guy. You get the ball in the middle of the plate. He gets his arms extended. Great ballpark to hit in. What did Tommy Joseph said? If you're a left-handed hitter in this ballpark, and again, just makes a nice swing. Just, I don't know if he tried to get it in, but he didn't. I saw Stephen Kwan hit one for the Guardians, who's not a home run guy. De La Cruz is a little different.
389-footer, his 5th of the year, his 2nd of the series. That's a pretty insane 7 minutes from Elly De La Cruz. Robbed a run and then hit a homer. Hayes line drive base hit off a changeup. Cincinnati is just not respecting the curveball right now, and Charlie Morton still has only landed 2 for strikes.
And 1 this inning, and 1 for an out. 40% of the time last year he threw his curveball, and they only hit 200. This year they're hitting well over 400, so he doesn't trust it, not throwing it over.
And the reason this is something we keep talking about, the last 5 years, Charlie Morton's curveball has been as valuable as just about any single pitch in Major League Baseball. It's become the pitch he throws more than anything else. He was a two-seamer guy early in his career. He just threw a very good curveball there. He became more of a high four-seamer guy with the Astros. When you go back to the start of 2021, it's Dylan Cease's slider, it's Kevin Gausman's splitter, it's Charlie Morton's curveball. Those are the three biggest strikeout pitches, any pitcher's specific pitch in Major League Baseball.
But you were talking about how he's changed his grip. Now last year he was 8-10, but he pitched well. They just didn't score a lot of runs. I think it's the sixth lowest runs scored in Major League Baseball. So you've been around. I mean, he started back in 2002. That's a long time ago. And so I know you always want to get better, but changing a grip, it just doesn't. I don't. For a guy that's pitched close to 3,000 innings, minor leagues and big leagues, it just doesn't look like he has a game plan.
Well, here's the hits allowed on the curveball, most of the majors. And you can see a lot of those are in the zone.
Yeah. So that's the hits, but that's not today. That's, and again, that's why they came in, what, 10 for 23. Hard to run on really good pickoff move. Austin is not a base stealer. Got pretty good speed, but not the stealing bases.
3-2. Hayes not running, and a breaking ball outside. That's the fourth walk of the first 2 1/3 for Cincinnati, and the command issues continue to frustrate, vex Charlie Morton and this coaching staff. First 3 Reds have reached in the third.
Yeah, it just looks to me that it's either he's mechanics are where he can't throw the ball to a lefty. Of course, righty steer coming up now. So he pulls the ball in, and then it's just he can't throw a ball low and away to a left-hander.
So you mentioned the grip. So he has gotten more ride on the fastball this year. He told me he's been cutting the fastball a little more. His fingers have been a little bit more on the side of the ball. I think clock face shifting down closer to 2 or 3 o'clock. There's a good breaking ball.
Really good.
Now, can that tweak on the fastball, can that mess with your curveball?
Well, obviously he's not pitching up to his capabilities or what he wants. So, you know, change is good, but sometimes it isn't.
Steer, ground ball, base hit. Hayes to third base, and he is stopped by J.R. House.
Yeah, and you're throwing pretty much, and again, you've been pitching since 2002. You know, you're a pretty accomplished pitcher. You won over, what, 134 games. So all of a sudden you change your grip and everything ends up in the middle of the plate. I'm thinking maybe I need to go back to the old grip. But he's been doing it all spring. Did not pitch a lot in the spring. They listed him at like 8 innings. I find that hard to believe. He didn't do some back field work. Drew French out again.
So a home run led off the inning for De La Cruz. Base hit Hayes, walk Lux, and base hit Steer. So the 3, 4, 5, and 6 hitters have all reached base, and there's still nobody out, with the red hot Jake Fraley coming up. And this is what Cincinnati did yesterday. They just kept moving the line, moving the line, moving the line, and then the carousel stopped spinning once the Reds got to third. They ended up leaving 13 men on base, despite 13 hits and the 9 walks. And the fewest runs scored by any team that reached base 22 times. Reds had 13 hits, 9 walks, 22 on base in 4 years. So given all of the base runners, amazing the Orioles held him to 5. And the one thing Charlie Morton's done well this year, you mentioned it, Jimmy, he has held down batters with runners in scoring position. But he's got a heck of a task on his hands here. Fraley, right field, a little floater for a base hit. It's going to bring in Hayes. Lux right behind him, and Steer gets to third. It's a 2-run single and a 4-1 Cincinnati lead with still nobody out.
Well, I'm sure it's frustrating for everybody. Certainly Charlie, because you know he doesn't want to pitch as poorly. Command, I mean, just not what he's used to. And right, you know, a lot of cutter. It's not a horrible pitch. It's not hit particularly hard, but he doesn't get it all the way in. And again, this red team, you know, new hitting instructors. Chris Valleca came over from the Guardians, and they're swinging the bat. And the Orioles are going to have to, and they're certainly capable of doing it.
So there's the new guy, Cody Poteet, added to the roster just this morning. Gets a strike call there.
Yeah, you need a strikeout here, and strikeouts have been hard to come by only because of the lack of command. I mean, he struck out a guy an inning last year. So a normal year, it doesn't matter because he's throwing the ball well as he makes his pitches. Got a young hitter. Took a belt high fastball, hit it into the left field at the time. And you know he doesn't hit Charlie Morton's good curveball. Let's see if he can throw it here.
Marte, big strikeout guy, will take one well off the plate. Last year, Marte 75 strikeouts to 9 walks in 66 games.
Well, when you get to 2 strikes, ideally you'd like to be able to get a guy to swing at it. You don't have to throw him a strike. Most young hitters will chase. Can you throw it close enough to get him to do that? That last pitch wasn't. There you go. There's your strikeout. Needed it. Here's the good hook.
So the second strikeout for Morton. That's 1 out in the inning, and now Wins, who singled in a run.
Yeah, he also hit a belt high fastball.
Wins squares to bunt, and he did not pull the bunt back in time. Well, maybe he did. I thought Ryan Blakeney signaled for a strike over at first. And Morton throws it away. Trying to pick off Fraley. The ball's against the tarp. Steer is in to score the 5th Reds run of the game and 4th of the inning.
Like we said, great move. I mean, we saw him control the running game against the Guardians. But here, I mean, not even close. Pulls it, kind of like some of the pitches he's throwing. And that gives him an extra run and another runner in scoring position.
It is 0-2. That first pitch was a strike. The scoreboard had it wrong, and Trip Gibson is making sure the folks know now. 0-2 because Wins did offer at the first pitch. Back-to-back games now, and Oriole pitchers committed an error. Cano did so yesterday in the 8th. That didn't end up leading to a run. Morton's does, as he misses up high to Wins. Seventh batter of the inning. First 4 who reach base have scored. Another breaking ball well off the plate, and it's got to be a restless, unsettling feeling right now for Charlie Morton, who has been very honest, self-critical, self-aware, speaking after his starts. He's just expressed open frustration. He doesn't know why he can't get that breaking ball to work. And it has been eluding him now for 5 starts running.
Yeah, and then the rest of again, Haven't done all his games, but I've watched them. Command on his other pitches are poor. I mean, it just are. So he's in the middle of the plate with those. You rely on your curveball.
Wins strokes a changeup into center field for a base hit. Fraley routes third. Very good runner. He'll score. And the Reds have put across 5 in the 3rd inning.
And when you don't have the curveball, you're throwing other pitches when you really don't want to, but you don't trust it. And that changeup again ends up in the middle of the plate, and Austin Wynns already a couple of RBIs, pings it into center field. And the last thing, Charlie Morton, you talked about it. He knows the bullpen needs some rest. Now you do have Poteet, who just got called up, but he wanted to pitch better than this, and the Reds didn't let him.
5 runs in the 3rd. Cody Poteet's Oriole debut coming out. Well, that's the current line for Charlie Morton, who had allowed 4 or 5 runs each of his first 4 starts. 6 runs, 5 earned so far. And now Cody Poteet will make his Oriole debut after coming over in a trade from the Cubs March 29th.
Yeah, so they needed an arm. You know, again, last year with the Yankees, not bad. Pitched in the big leagues with Miami. And trying to stop the bleeding right here. Let the offense get up and do something.
Poteet threw 3 days ago at AAA Omaha with the Norfolk Tides. 3 innings in that game. So he's on 2 days rest, 3 innings. So we'll see how much he can give the Orioles here. Gonna have to give him everything, frankly. Again, this bullpen yesterday, everybody pitched except for Ciano Perez, who threw 2 innings on Friday. So I don't want to say Cody Poteet's throwing until his arm falls off, but he has to give the Orioles a long outing here.
Wait, don't you have an off day tomorrow? So maybe
they do.
Yeah, so not ideal, but
you know, Bautista's down. Bowman's throwing back to back. Aiken 3 out of 4. So
yeah,
it's a tough spot, and Cody Poteet gonna have to do some version of what Carson Spires did for the Reds yesterday. Hopefully that doesn't end like Spires, who was put on the IL today with shoulder impingement, but through the final 4 innings of the game, 94 pitches for the Reds. And Terry Francona said of Spires, he wore it like a trooper. He was out of gas. I knew it. Derek Johnson knew it. There wasn't anything we could do about it. So we'll see what Poteet gives the Orioles in his debut. But hey, you mentioned the numbers 2 years ago, and Cody Poteet, career big league ERA of 3.80. So small sample size, 24 games, 13 starts, but he has succeeded.
yeah, you know, 4-seamer, sinker, changeup, sweeper, curveball, and other than the curveball, 3 for 9, all low batting averages. 92 to 93. And there's a 94. That's average major league fastball velocity.
Three and two for Friedel. And there's the slider. Poteet has had an unusual year. Go back to the end of December even. The Yankees traded him to the Cubs for Cody Bellinger. It was a straight up deal, Bellinger for Poteet. And then the Cubs waived him at the end of spring, which means the Cubs just gave up Cody Bellinger for nothing. Little lofter into right field. O'Hearn just jumped past it. Wins chugging to third, and then O'Hearn can't pick up the ball. Friedel gets to third. Just a play that unraveled in right field, and the Reds have scored 6 in the third.
Yeah, you make a mistake. That was a breaking ball that stayed up. Boy, they're not going to miss it. And Ryan, Friday night, and he doesn't quite get to it. Doesn't play a lot of right field. Played first base yesterday. That's what you were talking about. And because there's only one out, that extra base is huge because they're going to have to play the infield in. Makes Matt McClain a RBI opportunist without having to get a hit. Fly ball.
It's a double and an E9. It just looked like O'Hearn just totally didn't see the ball or lost track of it at some point near the end.
Yeah, when you don't play out there a lot, and then when you get your feet feel the warning track, the ball comes up in a hurry.
McClain right up the middle. That's a guillotine ball for Matt McClain. It will score Friedel. And the Reds have batted around here with only one out. A 7-run third and an 8-1 lead. This has been a no mercy third inning for Cincinnati.
Yeah, 94 right back up the middle. Yeah, De La Cruz started this inning off with a home run. No doubt about her to right center field.
Walk, steal, incredible diving catch, and a home run in the first not even 3 full innings. There's a ground ball to Mountcastle. He will get it out at second. The second out of the inning. Nice play by Mountie, because that's one that certainly could have gone awry.
Well, it's a hard play. Right-handed, left-handed, you have a better angle because of where you're throwing the ball as a left-hander. So he has to come in and make sure this is a nice angle right here. So he comes in. Now he's got a better angle. And again, you're trying to get the lead runner, and they're able to do that.
Hayes, the 11th batter of the inning, takes a slider for a strike. So we can close the line on Morton. All those runs end up earned, even though there were 2 errors in the inning. They were one on a pickoff throw, one on the back end of the play. So 7 runs all earned, and he got just 7 outs. Hayes into center. Plenty of room out there for Mullins. And that's the end of a 7-run Cincinnati third. Those bats have some work to do. Birdland memberships are available now. Enjoy the best seats at the best value, starting with as few as 10 games. Select your seats and get access to exchange games, concessions, and merch discounts, and playoff access. Go to Orioles.com/memberships. Well, a huge third inning, 7 across for Cincinnati. I got to keep Brent Suter out there at least for the top of the lineup. Mullins and then probably Henderson, the lefties. Suter, the opener as part of this bullpen game for Cincinnati, which so far has gone very well because they knocked Charlie Morton out of the game in the third. Now Tripp Gibson had a few words to say to Austin Wynns. 2-0 for Cedric, who had the softest single of his career on a swing, 42 miles per hour on a jam shot over the mound. Is there a number you have to get in this inning to feel like you're back in the game? 2 runs, 3 runs?
Let's start with 1.
All right, 1's good.
Well, Suter, he's a typical lefty. He's big, he's deceptive, doesn't throw hard, got all the pitches, strike thrower. And then if you do get on it, you should get what, 15 pickoffs. So he controls the running game. Again, been around at age 35.
The center field from Mullins, got some air under it, but routine for Friedel. And Brent Suter on 2 days rest has given the Reds 51 pitches and at least 7 outs. Terry Francona could have hardly asked for more here. By the way, the TJ Friedel play from an inning ago has just been changed to a triple. No error against O'Hearn. Suter just topped off the mound after spiking that changeup to Henderson. From a round in the draft that no longer exists, now a 20-round draft. When Brent Suter was picked in 2012. There was a 31st round. Ivy Leaguer out of Harvard, Cincinnati, Ohio kid, Archbishop Muller High School there. One of 2 31st rounders from that year to make it to the majors. The other is Taylor Ward, who did not sign that year, but ended up going to Fresno State and drafted by the Angels in the first round 3 years later.
Well, same high school as what Ken Griffey Jr. went to.
Buddy Bell, David Bell, Barry Larkin as well. Strike 3 called. Low sinker. Henderson not happy about it.
Yeah, Tripp Gibson, I thought, had a fairly tight zone. He thinks it's low. You're right. Brent Suter doing exactly what a veteran pitcher, even a young guy, wants to do. You score 7 runs, come out, try to have a shutdown inning. You know, this will probably be your last inning.
Rutschman hits it hard, and hey, he managed to get a ball past Ellie De La Cruz. A gold star effort. Adley snaps an 0 for 20 with a sharp base hit.
Yeah, the harder you hit him, the better chance you do have a chance to get him by it. And fastball hit hard. Just barely gets by him.
So Rutschman with the Orioles' 3rd hit. Here's O'Hearn. 61 pitches deep for the former starter Suter. A couple of Harvard relievers in the big leagues. Right now, Hunter Biggie for the Rays. There was a 12th rounder out of Harvard at 19. Saw him with the Cubs make his debut last year. He's basically the anti-Suter. Right-hander who throws 100. A ground ball to second. O'Hearn is retired. And Brent Suter does his job in this bullpen game. He gets 9 outs for Terry Francona with a big Cincinnati lead. The fourth inning of Orioles baseball is brought to you by your Baltimore area Toyota dealers. It's game on at Toyota. Visit your local Baltimore area Toyota dealer or check out buyatoyota.com. A happy Easter Sunday to those of you celebrating on this April the 20th. Kevin Brown, Jim Palmer, Melanie Newman, and our outstanding Masson crew. Orioles 4-3 on this 8-game homestand, and they've got a lot of digging to do to try to get to 5-3. Down 8-1 as we begin the fourth. Cody Poteet took over in the third inning, making his Oriole debut and his season big league debut. 30-year-old right-hander after Charlie Morton gave up 7 and 2 1/3. Poteet with a changeup strike to Gavin Lux. And last season you saw Cody Poteet with the Yankees. He made 4 starts and had 1 relief outing there. Rest of the year between AA and AAA, 13 starts. A lot of pitches, not one overpowering pitch, not one dominant pitch, but 4 and 2-seamer, changeup, sweeper, and a curveball. The 2-seamer was the most effective pitch last year. The league hit just 172 on that. 1-2 for Gavin Lux here. And there is a changeup.
Yeah, good movement. Just missed off the outside corner. It's funny, you throw that ball, what, 2-3 inches off it, a little bit to the left, you get a ground ball to second base.
Well, the Orioles have been searching for more and more and more pitching depth, mining anywhere they can for it, especially with all of these pitcher injuries. And Poteet misses with a slider, a leadoff walk. Lux's second walk. Hey, happy 7th birthday to Spencer right there. Got the name on the button, the orange sunglasses.
Yeah. In fact, looks like his family had great sunglasses.
Yes. I'd like to borrow those. I am currently out of all of my sunglasses.
What?
Well, one of them I left one of the lenses behind in the booth in Kansas City. I realized that once I got on the bus.
Wait, how do you leave a lens?
It popped out.
Oh.
And then, yeah, I was on the ground. It popped out. So then there are 2 other pairs, one of which is in the car that my wife currently has, and the other one is in our stroller which is in the car my wife currently has. So I've been fighting it through this weekend, Jim. Should I have gone to CVS and picked up a $15 pair? Yes, I should have. Have I been too lazy to do so? Or have I just been preparing too hard to call these games with you? And the answer to both of those is yes.
Yeah, well, I figured that.
Which one did you figure? So if anybody out there, has an Easter basket, they're waiting to deliver with us, and it has sunglasses.
There is I had what lens crafters?
Yeah,
right around the corner from where you live.
Yeah, no question.
And they're really nice in there.
Yeah, I've been busy.
They adjusted some glasses for me once. I didn't even have to buy them. I mean, just tell them who you are.
Just tell them. Well, that's not fair to do that.
Okay, who you were. Oh no, that's me. Yeah, you should be able to find.
I mean, it's no question I'll be able to find. It's
you got a Target right down there. Maybe Sprouts, or whatever that other store is. They probably even
tough weekend. You got 7 o'clock, then you got 4 o'clock, then 1:30.
Not easy
being
you.
When do you sleep? When do you work? 2-2 hit in the air to center.
Yay!
By Steer.
I'm rooting for outs. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, who is it?
Yeah, well, I know.
Steer 1 for 3. And look, this is an opportunity for Cody Poteet. You have to figure these kids are rooting for outs, and they're rooting for ice cream. They seem intimidated by the camera. It's okay. You can go ahead and eat the ice cream on camera. Crushing some chocolate sprinkles. One of the great things about Easter Sunday, you don't have to worry about Fridays anymore, not eating meat. You can have whatever you want. Have a big ham breakfast, have some potatoes, go have some ice cream. Beautiful day. Just go wild.
Well, our press room did a great job today. I mean, they had a little bit of everything. Potpourri of desserts.
Oh, that's nice. Now we're going across the way with the ice cream. Sharing is caring. Oh no, straight to the cheek. A chocolate cheek. 2-1 for Jake Fraley. Cross contamination of the chocolate ice cream. If somebody brings us up some ice cream cones, I promise I will not smother my ice cream cone on your face.
No, well, that's all right. I'll turn quickly to my left.
2-2. There's a good two-seamer. That's the pitch again. That was Poteet's best one last year. Not a big strikeout guy. Only 16 and 24 and a third last year, but his strength avoiding the barrels. Not a lot of hard.
Yeah, a lot of movement. A lot of movement. Runs. You saw the two-seamer. Get some movement out of it. As you meant, a multitude of different pitches, all different speeds.
Fraley rolls one over to Mountcastle. Sharp turn, but no play at second. He gets the second out. Jake Fraley retired for only the second time in this series in now 8 plate appearances. What a great weekend he's had. And here's Noelvi Marte on a base hit in the second inning where Cincinnati scored a run. Then they got 7 in the third. First pitch swinging, hanging slider back to our right. Young Reds team: McLean's 25, De La Cruz and Marte are 23, Steer and Lux are 27. Hunter Green, yesterday's starter, is 25.
And they got what? Tyler Stevenson is. He's got an oblique. He'll be back. He does some catching.
There's a chance that the Reds are about to embark on a good little run here. Maybe not a dominant force, but they've only been to the playoffs once since, again, they fired Dusty Baker in 2013. They've got Terry Francona in the dugout. It's not a tough division, all things considered. The Cubs are playing very well. Yep. Brewers are still very much in the mix after winning the Central last year. St. Louis 9 and 12. Pittsburgh, who knows what they're doing. Paul Skeens, but not a lot around him. Right center field. That ball is whacked by Marte, and that'll bring in another run. It's a wall ball. He can really run, and he's going to hold up at second. So a 2-hit game for Noelvi Marte. Roll of the dice, and it's 9-1 Cincinnati.
Boy, that's like old school baseball when you whack it up the gap. As you mentioned, that's what Jordan Westberg does. It's just the sound. And he's certainly pleased. And just a fastball inside middle. Great swing. Didn't try to pull it. Did that earlier on. Hit a single into left field. You're right about his speed. And probably the most important thing, or the thing that really jumps out, is how well they have pitched this early in the year. You know, their ERA comes in a little over 3 runs a game.
Well, Marte grades out by sprint speed, being the fastest third baseman in baseball right now, 23 years old. And that's something the Reds have an abundance of. They've got really fast players, really good athletes. They're tied for 16th in steals, but they had 4 yesterday. It feels like they're going to run a lot more. De La Cruz has now 7 on the year. So they can be a very athletic team. They've got some power, and you mentioned the pitching. 6th in the league now in ERA. There are some ingredients here for Cincinnati to surprise some people. And that guy is the ultimate cocktail maker when you give him the ingredients. Terry Francona always comes up with something brilliant. One of the most historic franchises in baseball, of course. Last World Series win for Cincinnati was back in 1990, 1-5. 2-2 is just off the plate from Poteet to Wins. TJ Friedler, the triple looming. Poteet 40 pitches and an inning and a third of relief. Out of UCLA, Cody Poteet. Been a heck of a pitching factory in recent years. Wins, base hit left center field. Well, we knew Austin Hayes was going to have a big impact in this series, but this has turned into the Austin Wins revenge game. It's his 3rd career 3-hit game, and he gives the Reds a lead of 10-1.
Yeah, again, a lot of balls hit hard. It's a little softer. Gunnar Henderson probably flags it down. What's that, 4 RBIs today for him? Or is it 3?
Only 3, but he's driven in a run all 3 of his hits. Austin Wins never had a 3-hit game as an Oriole, and he has one against them in his return to Camden Yards. This is into shallow right. Holiday will get there. So Cincinnati's got the big bats out today. But you know what? Still a day for some ice cream at the ballpark. Whoever wants to eat whoever's ice cream.
Far for the Orioles, and we've been watching the injury bug plague them as well. So guys, some good news for you this afternoon. I got to catch up with Heston Kjerstad earlier today in the clubhouse, asking him about getting hit by that pitch last night. He said it was a little scary because it did hit part of the guard but also part of his arm. He said, yeah, it's not going to feel good wherever you get hit. That's kind of what I'm dealing with. Ultimately, why he lost the battle to stay in the game was because that pack of nerves right there, it made his hand go numb. So he fought for it. They wanted to be cautionary, as you would expect, but feeling good today, and it looks like it should be better news ahead for him.
That is a positive update, Mel. Thanks for that, especially with an off day tomorrow. And I mean, thank goodness he got hit on the guard, so it at least dulled the impact somewhat. 10-1 game here that Heston's watching, and the new Reds pitcher is right-hander Ian Gibaut.
Yeah, big arm right there, a little slider. We saw 94. Missed most of last year with a forearm problem. Again, a big guy, 6'3", 250. Signed with the Rays out of Tulane back in 2015. And slider that Ryan Mountcastle slices foul. 328th pick.
So Brent Suter done after 3 innings in this bullpen game. Mountcastle takes an inside pitch, pulls it to left field. That is some seriously impressive bat control to keep that fair, and he's on with a double.
Yeah, admire most of the guys, you know, other than Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, and some of the best hitters, they'd hit that ball foul. It now with all the high-speed machines, watch him just make sure his arms come in, he knows where the bat head is, the barrel, and then able to keep it fair. It's almost like it's like it's a tennis racket and you're trying to catch the ball with the racket. He does it with the barrel of his bat and gets himself a double. Well, they scored 7 in an inning. The Orioles need to have a multi-run inning or two.
Strike to Jordan Westburg. Westburg had a double against Suter, scored the only run. Again, Terry Francona got the start he could have dreamed from Brent Suter, former starting pitcher who got 9 outs in this bullpen game. Only run the Orioles scored was unearned, and it was a typical soft contact day for Brent Suter, who threw 63 pitches.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what he does. He came in having not given up a hit in his last 4 outings. It's only the 7th game of the season. And it's not like he hasn't started before, as we mentioned, over the course of his career. And there's a high fastball that Westburg swings through.
So Westburg, the second Oriole to strike out in the game. Here's Jackson, who was robbed of a hit by De La Cruz. Cutter from Gibaut is wide. Cincinnati bullpen 11th best in baseball, 349. The starter is 5th best at 332. Been a surprisingly strong unit so far. Gibaut allowed 4 runs on opening day. Since then, 8 innings, 1 run in his last 8 outings.
Well, you want to have a good bullpen, have starters that go a little bit deeper into the game. Now, you know, Hunter Grain, as we look at the Rogers, we saw him yesterday, but Hunter Grain, that was his shortest stint. He had averaged almost 7 innings as a start. Lodolo was supposed to pitch today, paternity, he pitches, and then we saw Logan Allen almost get 7 innings the other day, struck out 11.
Here's ball 4. Holiday draws his 3rd walk of the year, and he's walked now in back-to-back games. Good sign for Jackson Holiday.
Well, young hitter, you want to take a walk. Same thing as getting a base hit.
So the Orioles trying to break through here in the 4th inning with Ramon Urias, very good with runners on base. Strike from Gibaut. You mentioned he was a Tulane player there. His battery mate, he started there. Jake Rogers, now catcher for the Tigers. Jake said he would not have much to say when he'd go out to the mound to visit Ian Gibaut. Figured the young man could handle himself. Just the kind of guy that's intense on the mound. You go out there, you pretty much leave him alone. And he was a closer at Tulane.
He had one start in his college career.
Got the strikeout on the high slider here.
Like I said, a big guy, 6'3", 250-ish, out of Houston.
Here's Laureano, 2 on, 2 out. Nice for Ramon to put a charge into this game after 2 home runs yesterday. Strike 1 on the slider. Look at the Reds bullpen 2 years ago. They really struggled. Gibaut, though, 74 games and a 3.33 ERA. But then only 2 games because of the injuries last year. Reds didn't offer him a contract and ended up returning to the organization as a minor league free agent.
Yeah, what, about 3 times on the IL with forearm problems, and you know, a lot of times that leads to Tommy John, so he avoided that, which is certainly a good thing. Looks like he's got a little movement on that fastball. It cuts a little bit, and also does use his left arm for deception.
You said he uses the left arm for deception. How so?
Well, you just kind of see it way extension, you know, so trying to hide the ball a little bit more. I mean, he starts just a little bit closed. Now, what's his left arm? He's going to throw the glove right at your face of the hitter.
Laureano popped up, and Fraley in shallow right puts him away. So the Orioles have a couple of runners on, but strand him in the 4th. Star Wars weekend arrives at Camden Yards May 2nd through the 4th. Friday, May 2nd, the first 20,000 fans get a Colton Cowser Star Wars bobblehead. And Sunday the 4th, it's Gunnar Henderson Star Wars bobblehead day, also for the first 20,000 fans. Orioles.com/tickets. Whether you're here in town or joining us from a galaxy far, far away, we hope to see you on Star Wars weekend. Some fantastic bobblehead giveaways. There is Colt Kauser working his way back from a thumb fracture, and Gunnar Henderson. It will be lovely when those two are back on the field together. Orioles haven't played a game this year with both Kauser and Henderson in the lineup. Colton got hurt at the end of the opening series, and Gunnar came back a few days later. Cody Poteet in relief. His 46th pitch, down and away to Matt McLean. So again, Cody Poteet is on 2 days rest. He threw 3 innings in his last outing for AAA Norfolk. So the question is, how much further can he go?
Well, trying to stay in the big leagues and make your mark, you know, he looks like he pitches a little bit. Not a hard thrower, just trying to throw it. But again, when arm gets a little bit tired, it's harder to command the ball. At the end of the day, you got to know where your release point is, whether it's your breaking ball, your 2-seamer, 4-seamer. When the arm gets tired, sometimes it's hard to get your hand in the right position to throw strikes.
And Poteet threw 41 pitches 3 days ago. He's at 48 now. Breaking ball low to Elly De La Cruz. Nobody warming in the Oriole bullpen. You've seen all kinds of incredible players, athletes. Obviously, Elly De La Cruz, one of the great athletes of the modern era. 6'5", switch hitter, 67 stolen bases last time out. Historical perspective, Jim, when you look at Elly De La Cruz, does he remind you of anybody? Are there players or parts of players that flash through your head?
No, his athleticism is pretty extraordinary. I mean, there have been a lot of good athletes, but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody that is a switch hitter that can run like that. And you know, I mean, Alex Rodriguez, when he came up, of course not a switch hitter, but he was very athletic. In fact, when he got traded from we went to the Mariners, he went as free agent to the Rangers, and when he got traded to the Yankees, we were doing a fantasy camp, and Earl Weaver walks in. He said, "So you think Jeter's going to like playing third base?" I said, "That's Earl. That is not happening."
Swing and a missed changeup.
Yeah, and a good one. You know, again, he's got movement. It's just you'd like to get to a point where he's kind of waving his arm around. And it's in the middle of the plate, but he gets away with it because of the movement down and away from the bat head. And Earl he bottom lined it. He said, I mean, A-Rod was a better shortstop than Derek, but you'd never convince anybody that was a Yankee fan.
Deep right center from Hayes. That ball will split Mullins and O'Hearn off the MedStar Health sign. And it'll be a run scoring double. Austin Hayes with his 6th hit, 8th trip on base in this series, and it's 11-1.
Yeah, 12th hit, 7 of them in that 7-run inning. I mean, they are finding the gaps because they're hitting the ball hard. Yeah, I saw Chris Valleca. I'd met him a couple of years ago when he was with the Guardians, hitting a structure for Terry Francona. He said, "I got to go where Tito goes." And I think that Terry Francona is happy about that, because these guys are putting on a show.
Chris Valleca, whose brother Pat was an Oriole a few years back.
Briefly, yeah.
David Bell, very well regarded and certainly part of an amazing baseball family. 12-year big league career, had been the manager of the Reds from 2019 to last season. And look, David Bell was not given all of the appropriate tools. It's not like he severely underperformed with very talented teams. Reds had some tough years there. They made the postseason only in the shortened season in 2020. Had a couple of winning records, but barely above 500. So certainly no disrespect to David Bell, who's had a great baseball life, but there is something about Terry Francona, his life in baseball, the way his brain works, his communication skills. He's obviously been a World Series champion, almost won another with Cleveland.
Well, he's not an overreactor. Like when De La Cruz was struggling early in the year, he goes, well, good players figure it out. You know, and he didn't have to say, well, you know, it's early in the season and it's only the first 15 games. He said, no, good players do that. You know, one year, and it's one of the great stories, we're going up to Boston and Mike Flanagan's 2-8. He's pitching better than his record. And he says, I don't think Earl Weaver has any faith. And I saw Earl in the locker room. I said, you know, you need to, I don't care if you lie to him, call him in and tell him you think he's going to do well. I said, because you're going to pitch him every fourth day. He said, yeah. So he goes to a writer for the Boston Globe, Cliff Keen, and Cliff Keen writes an article basically saying, I don't care what Flanagan's record is. This is what Earl Weaver says. He's going to be a winning pitcher in the big leagues. Ends up 15-10 that year, and wins the Cy Young a couple of years later. So Tito's one of those guys. You know, he
Lux lofts it to right, and that's going to drop in front of O'Hearn. Another base hit. Hayes around third, giving the windmill. Everything falling for Cincinnati today. Gavin Lux has reached base 3 times. He's got his first RBI of the game, and Cincinnati's got a dozen.
There are games, and this is one of them. And Drew French has been out there, what, 4 times now? But again, I mean, it's just good hitting. Goes down and gets it. Finds a spot. It's kind of like if you're a quarterback trying to find a soft spot in the defense. They've been able to do that all afternoon. But if you don't strike people out, you're seeing why. Some days are going to be like this, where they find holes. They've been hard hit balls, soft hit balls.
And the Orioles, to your point, have the second lowest strikeout rate in the league. And that's partly what happens. Luciano Perez loosens. That's partly what happens when Grayson Rodriguez gets hurt. And with all the other pitching injuries you've had, Zach Eflin, Kyle Bradish.
Yeah. Tyler Wells, before he got hurt, had the lowest whip at the All-Star break. That's walks and hits per inning. So, yep.
I think Mike Elias said it earlier in the homestand. The accumulated pitching depth, as there's Grayson on the bench. He said, I did not anticipate we'd already tap into the depth April 15th. Obviously, that was not the plan. Poteet to Spencer Steer. This is the Reds' 33rd batter of the game. It's the 5th inning. The Orioles have sent just 18 to the plate. 63 pitches in relief. Again, Cody Poteet here has given the Orioles everything he's got.
Well, he's doing a Carson Spires. That's what Carson did. Now, he was a little bit better rested and probably starting a little bit more. He came in yesterday and then pitched really well until he gave up back-to-back home runs.
O'Hearn in from right here.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their numbers, a lot of walks, 6 walks, 3 doubles, at least on my scorecard. And then only 1 home run. And that was the De La Cruz home run.
Oh, the big difference yesterday, 4 for 17 runners in scoring position. Today, Cincinnati is 8 for 12.
And they came in at 284. And yesterday they started the game at 290. So they fell 6 points. But that's gone up. And the other thing that Terry Francona inherits is healthier players. And that certainly helps. You know, McLean's back after missing the entire year. Jabot, who's pitching now, he missed the whole year, so that's a guy in your bullpen that's got a good arm.
Fraley to second base. Cincinnati with 2 more. The Reds have scored in every inning since the first on this Easter Sunday. Navy Federal Credit Union proudly serves the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Our members are the mission, insured by NCUA. Sunday, the Orioles Military Suites program. And today, the Orioles honored folks from the United States War Dog Association, which was established in 2000 to honor the legacy of War Dogs. U.S. War Dogs donates and gifts canine memorials and ships care packages to dogs and handlers serving overseas. Thanks to those folks for doing what they do, and as members of the Orioles, we're out there meeting with them, taking pictures, signing autographs before the game. Every Sunday, a new group honored as part of that Military Suites program. Wonderful thing that happens here at Camden Yards. 12-1, the Cincinnati lead. Taylor Rogers is the third Reds pitcher this game.
And again, we saw him yesterday, 92, actually hit 94. A little bit of breaking ball, you just saw it. Boy, has he been around. Twin brother Tyler, pitched with the Giants the last couple of years with him. 4th in all-time appearances, at least active, 518 appearances out of the bullpen. Yeah, so he's been around. And usually a strike thrower.
Well, there's Scott Barlow. So 12-1 game. Terry Francona still matching up to a degree here. Again, they've got Randy Wynn to serve as a long man. 4 days rest, 32-year-old who came up from Louisville today. Carson Spires was placed on the IL. Blake Dunn, by the way, has entered the game in right. Jake Fraley's day is done after a walk, a 2-run single, and a couple of ground outs. Mullins pops up a sweeper to Steer. Cedric 1 for 3. It's been a pretty amazing career. You mentioned for Taylor Rogers. There are the numbers this season. For a guy who doesn't throw hard, was an 11th round pick. Originally signed by the Orioles, or drafted by the Orioles, but that was in the 37th round, 2009. He went to University of Kentucky. Was one of the more unusual closers in baseball for a few years. and even went to the All-Star game as a closer, 2021.
Yeah, I mean, you're in 518 games coming in and never started a game in the big leagues. Didn't play for the Rays. He would have been an opener.
Might have started 30 games a year.
Could have been the Yarborough of twin brothers.
Oh gosh, can you imagine a right-handed Ryan Yarbrough? 1-2 for Henderson. Fielder's choice strikeout today. By the way, the Rays are currently being no-hit through 6 1/3 by Max Fried. 3-0 Yankees in Tampa.
Well, they're used to playing there. That's where spring training is for them.
Bouncing ball to second. McLean. You see how the Yankee-Ray game ended yesterday? The Yankees led 8-4 in the ninth. They brought in Devin Williams. He gave up 4. And then Jonathan Aranda had a walk-off home run in the 10th. So the Rays being no hit, but it wouldn't be their biggest comeback of the weekend.
Wow. Yeah, you know, when they got Devin Williams, everybody said, well, they just got the, one of the best relievers. And sometimes uniform changes or circumstance. You struggle with it.
Yeah, the Yankee bullpen has been mostly outstanding. But Devin Williams, 8 innings, 9 runs coming over from Milwaukee. 18 base runners between hits and walks. So he has been by far the Yankees' least effective reliever. Luke Weaver's gone 11 scoreless, continuing his great run from the postseason. Rutschman tied up on a sinker. It's 1-2.
Well, Clay Holmes was their closer and then struggled. Yeah, he's now the starting pitcher for the Mets, but they took him out of that role, and then Luke Weaver came on, and they go all the way to the World Series, lose to the Dodgers. Weaver had a great postseason.
Backdoor sweeper. Rutschman is down looking.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. Might have been off the corner a little bit.
Speaking of the Yankees, the Orioles will host Aaron Judge and the Bronx Bombers 1 week from tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, their first meeting of the year. Hotly anticipated series as always. The last 2 division champs get together. Go to Orioles.com/tickets. Max Fried now no-hitting the Rays through 6 2/3. 3-0 Yankees lead that game in Tampa, Steinbrenner Field. And here are the Orioles trying to get some outs. They've had a tough day on the mound, to say the least. 12-1 Cincinnati. Cielo Perez will take over.
Yep. Well, I came in a couple of scoreless innings on Friday night on the 18th, so it's good to see him. And that ERA was astronomically high, so it's come down. I want him to be a big part, as he has been, of the Oriole bullpen. So, runs in 5 of his 7 appearances, so make it 5 out of 8. And again, high velocity, 2-seamer, occasional 4-seamer, and breaking ball. There it is for.
So Cody Poteet in his Oriole debut, 2 2/3, gave up 6 hits, 5 earned, and walked 2, struck out 1. Both he and Charlie Morton threw 68 pitches. Morton was 36 strikes. Poteet was 38. So the Reds have seen 136 pitches in just 5 innings.
And I am hoping that Scott Blewett, who pitched, will get through waivers.
I'm hoping nobody in the league watched those two Scott Blewett
Well,
outings,
I'll
'cause
tell
he
you
was
what,
really good.
I ran into a scout yesterday, and he goes, "Boy, I'd be the way he pitched. Who did watch them?
Yep.
I'd be really surprised."
Where's the scout? Can you just keep him in the ballpark for a while with no access to the internet or phones? Yeah, Brandon Hyde said it yesterday. He hopes Blewett clears. We'll see. Orioles got him off waivers. He has to go through the process now. 1-2 for Noelvi Marte. And another good breaking ball from
Really
CNL.
good. Perfect. It's exactly what you want to do when you get the 2 strikes. Start it somewhere around the zone and let it dive bomb underneath it.
What'd you make of CNL's strong outing on Friday night?
He was just, he's just better. He's got good stuff. He's never going to be a guy that you put the glove on the corner. So let's see, inside middle, and misses by 3 feet. Now I'm not that, I don't mean being critical. He can outstuff you, and his stuff is good enough. It's good enough velocity, good enough movement. High spin rate on the breaking ball, but he's not going to be hitting the glove, except right there, and that's what so he's more comfortable. I saw him in the hallway the other day. I said, "Hey," just took his wrist. I said, "Just relax," because you have a really good arm, and he's got tremendous energy.
He's really one of the happiest guys on the team. He has great energy. Wonderful guy. He's had a real renaissance with the Orioles after pitching with the Cincinnati Reds. And it was a waiver claim for the Orioles. Austin Wynns has his first career 4-hit game.
Wow. It's like cruise control.
4 singles. He's hitting everything on the ground in the middle. This time he didn't have an RBI, but it's the first 4-hit game in the big leagues for Austin Wynns.
Yeah, he's such a good guy, and I loved him. He was always a backup guy. Had to play a little bit here, and I'm going, he's going to apologize to Mountcastle for getting 4 hits. I'm sorry. That's what's so great about this game. You get a chance to play if you're a backup catcher. Maybe you play 1 day a week, maybe 2.
There's a Wynns jersey. There were some folks here that were happy to see him on Friday. People who seen Austin back in the minor league days, followed his journey up through the system. It's his second ever game against his old team. He went 0 for 3 with the Rockies 2 years ago, and he is 4 for 4 today. So Austin wins the 248th game of his big league career, and his first with 4 hits. Strike to TJ Friedl.
Yeah, being a backup catcher is not. It's great to be on the team, but boy, it's a tough job. It's an integral part of actually on a winning ball club, because you do more than just the playing aspect, catching guys and encouraging guys and sitting on meetings, and a lot of times you're a veteran, and he certainly is. Hasn't really played as much as he'd like, but been around. So in a young ball club, he's probably one of your older guys, or at least one of your more veteran guys.
10th rounder out of Fresno State. The Orioles took him a dozen years ago. No swing by Friedel. It's 3-2. Friedel had an RBI triple in the third. Every player in the Cincinnati starting lineup has scored a run today. All 9 of the hitters.
14 hits.
And all but Steer had an RBI, so 8 of the 9 starters. Oh, wow. 12-1 game. Come on, Tripp.
Well, pretend Adley's up there. Call a little bit off the plate.
7th walk for the Reds today. They've walked 7, 9, and 7 times in the 3 games.
Yeah, it's one of those. Is the glass? If the glass is half empty, you're going, well, Orioles haven't had good control. And if the half, if you're a Red fan and you go, boy, these guys can really take pitches, know what they want to hit.
I still trying to get McLean going a little bit. He is now 2 for 13 with a walk in the series.
But again, one of those 2 hits was a 3-run home run. And they ended up winning that game on Friday night.
Interesting development in Tampa we've been mentioning. Yankees will come to town 1 week from tomorrow. Max Fried's got a no-hitter through 7. He's on 92 pitches.
2 strikeouts.
That is really weird. He has only induced 3 swings and misses in the game.
Well, what's the first thing that you looked at the Yankees this year with the acquisitions they got of Goldsmith and Bellinger, and would their defense be worse or better? Soto got nominated for a Gold Glove last year, and when you talk to people that broadcast radio, TV, they're going, we don't know how that happened. It's kind of like Vlad Jr. I know he got $500 million. And I know he won a Gold Glove, but I don't know how that happened.
There's a foul ball for a young fan. And you got a foul ball from Ellie De La Cruz. Strike 3. Just twisted him into knots. Nice hitting by Cionel Perez in the 6th. With Orioles online auctions, you can score exclusive O's items like a Jackson Holiday Game Used City Connect jersey and a Cedric Mullins Game Used bat. But bidding for these items ends tonight at 10, so don't wait. Go to Orioles.com/auction. And reminder, net proceeds benefit the Baltimore Orioles Charitable Foundation. Need to get a Jim Palmer Game Used highlighter in there.
A highlighter?
Yeah, Kevin Brown pre-game used drumstick maybe.
Or maybe that you brought your weights today. about your do your bicep curls?
I did bring my. Well, I was inspired by Ramon Laureano, who told us after the game yesterday
After he had 2 home runs.
that he had done some bicep work
Almost
before the
3.
game. Scott Barlow's the new pitcher, by the way. So yeah, we got our biceps in. And this is how we began our day.
Yeah, show me the core.
1001,
Yeah.
1002.
Yeah, the core exercise I gave you.
Oh, sorry, you. Oh, yeah, the core exercise. So, you want to do that one? So, this involves a chair.
After this pitch, we'll.
All right, after the pitch, we'll do it.
Scott Barlow again. We saw him on Friday night coming in.
Fouled away. All right, so this is. So you gave me an exercise. I'll see if we can do this in the booth camera. Here's the numbers for Scott Barlow. I'm just going to do some bicep curls while we wait.
And shoulder.
And shoulder. Yeah. This is good. I actually worked out yesterday. Well, I did. I'm serious. I know you don't believe it.
No, I don't.
All right. So
okay, foot up.
Foot up on the chair.
Yeah. Yep.
Biceps.
Shoulder.
Shoulder. Twist back.
Yeah, negatives on the way down. Yeah, there we go.
Is that good?
Yeah. Switch legs. And that'll do
switch
your,
legs. Okay.
Yeah, shoulders, biceps, and we'll get a pop up, and you know, you'll do a little core.
So again, Ramon Laureano told us, and he said to the media, it was Saturday, he was bored. That's why he was doing bicep exercises.
Yeah.
So he hit 2 home runs. So we're figuring, you know,
You'll talk
get
better.
some work done.
Well,
Fly ball to deep left field.
Yeah.
Ground ball to third. Hall of Famer Jim Palmer.
You might even be able to find some sunglasses if you do enough.
You think
bicep
so?
curls,
Yeah.
On your off day.
These are some hefty.
Yeah.
What do you call these things? Weights. Anyway.
And you live right down the street from the Merit in Canton.
Yeah, but what's?
I mean, I'm surprised you haven't just gotten lost and wandered over there.
I've
Wonderful people over there.
I typically
Sid
do get lost.
Meidell's here. His wife teaches yoga there. Yeah. So
You're just blowing up the neighborhood spot. You really are. RT, wonderful.
got like 5,000 members.
Wonderful RT Meidell. Excellent yoga teacher. Probably. She hasn't taught me, but I believe she is excellent because she's just a wonderful human. Maybe that's what we can have. We can have RT lead a booth yoga session before one of our games.
Over. Yeah.
1-2 for Mountcastle, who has doubled in the game and strikes out on the Barlow sweeper. Would you ever do bicep works before a start?
No.
What was your pre-start routine, and how much did weight training change from your rookie year to the end of
Well,
your
nobody did weights. We didn't have a gym. And then maybe 3-4 years. We never had a gym. We were in Miami Stadium. They had a little room. You might have a couple of, weights in there. That was probably about 6 or 7 years into my career. And then
Westberg down to short.
We'll get back to the next inning.
All right, we will. Orioles looking for some bicep curls, tricep shoulder movement. 12-1 Cincinnati. Students, sign up now for the Birdland Student Pass presented by Toyota for exclusive student discounts. Games will be offered to college students at a discounted price all season long. Go to Orioles.com/student pass to sign up today. Still a few weeks left in the college year. Tuesday, April 29th against the Yankees. 1 week from Tuesday, that's the next student discount pass game. Got a whole bunch of them here in April. 12-1 the lead for Cincinnati. Austin Hayes has had a wonderful return to Baltimore. He's 6 for 12 in the series. He's doubled, homered, knocked in 2, walked twice.
Wow.
And Hayes has another hit against his old teammate Ciano Perez.
Well, he wears out lefties, but he can play against both. He's outstanding defensive left fielder or center fielder if you really want him to play center field. And they got him, you know, what, he made $6 million last year, had the kidney problem when he got traded up to Philadelphia. So he, you know, played a little while and then couldn't play. So they got a bargain if he's healthy. And he's, as we've said, he'll make, if he's healthy, he'll make this Reds team better. Already has.
And again, they want him behind Elly De La Cruz as Randy Wynn warms up. They want somebody who hits lefties well behind De La Cruz to dissuade teams from bringing in a lefty to face De La Cruz late in the game.
Yeah, to move him around and turn him around because he is. But more power from the other side. In fact, well, but in this series, is the irony is they came in, hit him what, 146 against left-handed pitching, and De La Cruz had a 3-run home run off of Povich early on, and then McLean hit another one. So they've had a nice offensive series. Yesterday, a couple of hits, and like you said, that 5 runs would have been a lot more. So what, 9, 12, and 5?
And now with 39 hits in the 3 games and 23 walks. 2-2 for Lux. And for the Orioles, meanwhile, easy diagnosis here. The offense been a little up and down, but better of late. But it's all about the pitching. 25th in ERA coming in, starting rotation at the 3rd worst starters ERA coming into the game. And they're just searching for answers. They're searching for depth. Searching for a little more out of some guys on this team as well.
Well, there was Kyle Gibson was pitching today, I think, down at wherever he's pitching in the minors.
Yeah, today for Aberdeen because of some weather concerns for Norfolk.
So hopefully he will get himself in shape. There's another walk. Wow.
Kyle Gibson's day is done now for Aberdeen. This is his 3rd start back in his buildup. So again, pitching in high A. The important things here: 5 innings pitched and very good strike.
Well, the important thing is you need to get him back here. I mean, here's a guy. And I said this when he was here. He won 15 games, pitched 192 innings. As good as anybody that I ever saw in the locker room.
Right field, that kicks away from a diving O'Hearn, and Spencer Steer now drives in his first run, which means all 9 Red starters have an RBI in the game. 13-1 Cincinnati on this Sunday afternoon.
So again, trying to catch it before it hits the ground, and it already bounces and then off the glove. I would imagine it's a double. But my point is, Kyle Gibson will make a difference with Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton's better than he's pitched. He knows that. He knows he has to turn it around. So you get, well, that's what, about 78 years in age of 2 guys that have pitched thousands of innings, and so that'll be helpful. Yeah. Plus,
Kyle Gibson's going to make a huge difference in a couple of ways. And look, again, the Orioles right now, they've got so many injured pitchers. We've got Grayson Rodriguez, Zach Eflin on the shelf, some depth pitchers. Trevor Rogers and Chase McDermott are hurt.
Wow,
right
look
field,
at this.
Blake Dunn. So he didn't start the game, and in his first at bat, he becomes the 10th Red with an RBI. Just one of those days.
I mean, but how about the approach? That's an inside-out swing. Didn't he hit a home run on Friday night? It's the way you hit. And, again, another line drive to the opposite field.
There is nobody up in the Oriole bullpen. Obviously, we've reached the stage where the Orioles could bring in a position player down 8, and nobody wants to do that. No manager plans to do that. But given the state of the bullpen, it's going to happen at some point in this game. Matters is how many pitches can Cianel Perez throw. Everybody else in that bullpen pitched yesterday. There goes Brandon Hyde. No doubt Ian Robinson Chirinos have been having conversations about how to cover these final few innings. 2-1 for Marte. 17 hits and 8 walks for the Reds.
Yeah, I wonder if Gary Sanchez has ever pitched. The reason I say that is we were up in Toronto once, and Elrod Hendricks, one of our catchers, came in. We got beat 24-10, and Elrod pitched 2 shutout innings, so we might still be there. The way the Jays were hitting. 2 scoreless innings.
By the way, the Rays have broken up the no-hitter in an unusual fashion. Wow. Oh my gosh. Right field again. Let's put 6 defenders on that side. Break the rules. And the most runs the Reds have scored since September of 2023. It is now 15-1. And Drew French is going to come out. My, oh my.
Oh. 15-1 got you doing your Dick Enberg impression.
This is one of those games where you remind yourself that the baseball season is 162 games long, and if you win 2-0 on Tuesday, it counts the same. It's a game you just have to let pass by and not demoralize you as a team.
Yeah, I was here when the Orioles lost, gave up 33 runs in a game to the Rangers, and then got beat 9-8 or something in the second game. Gave up 42 runs in one day.
Gregory Soto, who pitched yesterday, only threw 16 pitches. He is going to get loose here. Try to give the Orioles some coverage if they need it. By the way, the Rays no-hitter, Chandler Simpson had the first base hit in the 6th inning, but it wasn't at the time. It was originally ruled an error, and the official score went back and changed that to a single. So what a strange way for Max Fried to lose the no-hitter. He did, however, give up a base hit to start the 8th, which will maybe ease the pain somewhat. But I don't know that I've seen that before. A no-hitter broken up that late into a game, mid-game, by an official scoring change.
Yeah, the kid that did it he's the speedster they just brought to the big leagues.
Chandler Simpson,
yeah.
Ridiculous base stealer in the minor leagues. And Max Fried now out of that game for the Yankees, will lead 3-0 in the 8th. So here's Wins, who is in the middle of the best game of his big league career. Chandler Simpson, by the way, last year with the Rays, and the Orioles still don't see Tampa Bay for a little while. He stole 104 bases in the minor leagues. 104. Those don't see Tampa till June 16th. They'll go down there. Bouncing ball to shortstop. This is, thank goodness, a double play.
Take that. Boston wins.
Yeah, more like Austin loses. Are you right?
Yeah. Oh, trying to get 5 hits. If you're a backup catcher, that's a good 2 months.
So here's Friedel. Next pitch will be the 178th thrown in the game by the Orioles. 0-2.
That's a lot of pitches.
You ever throw 178 in a game?
Actually, I threw 177 opening day in Boston.
Wow.
When I was 20. Hit a home run. Struck out 11, walked 8. Walked 7, actually. And that's when the writers said, well, that's, to Harry the Cat Burkeen, our pitcher, go, that's a lot of pitches. He said, yeah, we want to get that pitch count down into the 140s. Well, I mean, they let you do that back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you weren't even doing biceps. Amazing.
No. Oh, going back to your point, when I got into kind of doing preventive stuff was when I sat next to Mark Marshall in the bullpen in the '75 All-Star game, who pitched in 106 games for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And he was a professor of kinesiology. And
so learn
nice
the professor.
pitch.
What did you say? 7th inning stretch time here. Get up, take a beat. Stretch time on this Easter Sunday. This was a 1-1 game after 2, and Cincinnati back-to-back touchdown drives for a 15-1 lead. The Reds dominant from the 3rd inning on to close out this series. Hey, you can stream every out-of-market game live or on demand. Plus, stream MLB Network 24/7 for the entire season. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Kevin Brown, Jim Palmer, Melanie Newman, our Madison crew. We hope you're enjoying your Easter Sunday. We hope you're looking like that. Not just the bunny ears, but the cracked egg sunglasses.
There are your glasses, Kevin. Randy Wynn going to come in. Pitched really briefly for him last year. 4 starts down to their AAA affiliate Louisville. So he will come in, non-roster player that
he could get a save today. You know that?
Yeah, if he goes 3 innings, yeah.
So stop the save will be the Orioles' goal here. Scott Barlow with a perfect 6th inning. Suter for 3. Gibaut, Rogers, and Barlow each for 1. And Ellie De La Cruz's day is over. He had played every inning at shortstop for the Reds this season until Santiago Espinal just took over. Your hitters here, these are at-bats that are good for your average, good for your confidence. Important at-bats, even given the score early in the season on an individual level. Jackson would like to reach base for a 2nd time. Walked in the 4th inning, was robbed of a hit by De La Cruz in the 2nd. Crazy to say in a 15-1 game, but the moment of the game may have been a defensive play. The Ellie De La Cruz lunging catch. Just with a backdoor cutter, 3-2.
Yeah, Austin Wynn wanted that to be called.
And a leadoff walk, so Holiday has been on twice today, and again could have easily been 3 times if not for that Ellie De La Cruz play, which is our Zips Cleaners Getting Dirty replay. Ellie De La Cruz, runner at 2nd, 1 out, 2nd inning, full Superman behind 2nd, and he's going to need to zips it. When you want to look your best for less, zips it. Visit one of our 40+ locations in the DMV. First pitch foul out for Ramon Arias at an 0 for 3 day for him. Here's Laureano. Mr. Biceps. He said he did not want to challenge Tyler O'Neill in the bicep contest. O'Neill, who has the day off today, likely be back in there Tuesday when the Orioles go to DC.
Yeah, the Reds are not off tomorrow like the Orioles are. They go down to Miami. Play the Marlins.
Both the Marlins and Nationals 8 and 12, tied for 3rd in the NL East. There goes the bat into the Cincinnati dugout. Javelin alert.
Yep. Got the gloves, got the whatever tack.
Strike 3 on a changeup.
Yeah, Randy Wynn's been around. I mean, he's 32. He's pitched all the way up through the minor leagues for the Reds. Again, you know what, 92, 91, bunch of pitches in the big leagues in 23 for 2 1/3 innings until today.
Former Indy baller Randy Wynn. How about the battery right now?
Yeah.
Wynn and Wins. Both W-I-N-N and then an extra letter. Randy Wynn for the Reds, 1 game in 2023. So even in a blowout, this is pretty special for him to be getting back to the big leagues. Grossmont College, and then Missouri Baptist. That's where Randy Wynn came out of. He was an undrafted player, and now he's part of the Win-Wins battery.
Curveballs and changeups and two-seamers and he doesn't walk a whole lot of guys. I mean, coming up through the minors, Louisville pitches 89 innings, Double-A, goes 8-4, walks 11.
Yeah, minor league career, less than 2 walks per 9. Not a lot of strikeouts in the minors, but he has 2 here. Marlin slams the bat. Been that kind of day for the Birds. Well, Jim, give us a scouting report on the new Orioles pitcher here in the 8th inning, would you?
I didn't like his windup, to be quite honest.
That is Jorge Mateo, second baseman, shortstop, third baseman, left fielder, center fielder, right fielder.
Has a great arm.
He really does.
But he went into the lob mode.
Up the middle base hit for Matt McLean.
Well, even if you're not lobbing it, these guys now have what, 19 hits?
And McLean has 2 with a walk. So the Orioles just run out of pitchers here. The other 7 guys in the bullpen all pitched yesterday. This game's out of hand. No sense in bringing any of them in. So it's Jorge Mateo. We'll see if he's asked to go 2 innings or maybe 1 and then another position player. First pitch was 58. That's 56. Lined right to Urias. And Jorge Mateo has a big league ERA. Throw that baseball out of play.
The atom ball, we like that.
This is Jorge Mateo's first major league pitching appearance. It is also his first professional pitching appearance.
Yeah, and again, he could be throwing probably 90 miles per hour.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
He's throwing a splitter?
Well,
what is he doing? Oh my God.
That's my point.
Austin Hayes is going to break his face from smiling on that last pitch. Really hit him. Swing and a pop up down the left field line. This is into the corner, and that ball's foul.
Well, I'm still going to go back to 2014 when Adam Jones hits a 3-run home run off Darnell McDonald, their center fielders, but 15th inning, I think. Both the Red Sox and the Orioles run out, and then Chris Davis comes in. He comes in and strikes out. Got to think of their first baseman that Oh, Adrian Gonzalez trying to hit a 3-run home with one of the greatest split-fingered fastballs I've ever seen. And Chris is thrown in the low 90s.
It's one of the all-time best position player pitching performances. 3-2 for Hayes. Oh boy, crowd now it's 79. Jorge is changing speeds here. He's not just doing the thing that some position players do where they throw 38 and lob up lollipops. He's actually gone from 56 to 79. The 3-2 to Hayes.
Wow. Well, Austin,
look at the pitch sequence here. Come on, look at what we got here. We got curveballs.
Well, I'm waiting to see a fastball myself. He might try to buzz one by him. Nope.
Hayes with another base hit. That was the curve.
Well, that's
obviously.
4 hits. That is 4 hits with a walk.
If anybody on the Reds had to get a hit there, it was Austin Hayes. Mateo's laughing at him. I mean, nobody wants to make an out against a position player, but you definitely don't want to do it against your teammate of the last few years. So now we'll see if Mateo can roll a double play ball. Does he have the 2-seamer in his repertoire?
Yeah,
oh yeah.
That's a changeup at 77.
What is going on here? Trip Gibson is. Oh, come on now. What is Trip Gibson barking at Mateo about? It's 15-1.
Well, what's he barking about, though?
Off the end of the bat, left center. Base hit. Again, Gavin Lux finds the green grass. I don't know if Mateo had something to say after that last pitch. I don't know if Trip Gibson was just telling him you have to give the batter time to be ready, but that was weird.
This whole day is weird,
yes,
to be quite honest.
Spencer Steer is almost hit. Oh, now the crowd is finally getting something to cheer about. A little brushback pitch. Steer to second, caught.
Take that.
Couldn't steer it to the outfield. Hey, that's what you got to do. That's Bob Gibson right there. You know, you buzz the tower and then you get out.
Oh, throw behind him?
Yeah. Great catch by Adley, too. So he can get out of this with a scoreless inning here. Let's see. Sinker. Splitter.
Well, I think gravity made it sink.
1-0 to Blake Dunn. Did it hit him? Blake doesn't want to go to first. He didn't want to take the hit by pitch.
What would you?
No.
He's thinking a grand salami.
He should just pull a move on and shake it off and say, I'm refusing to go to first.
Well, I saw Albert Bell do it here on a Sunday afternoon. Grazes the uniform.
16-1, and there's a strike to Marte. Deep to left field. Is it going to stay fair? Uh-oh.
Yep.
Grand slam.
Yep, there it is. That'll make a nice around 20 runs.
Noelvi Marte with a grand slam. He was 1 for 12 on the year. He has 4 hits today. He's driven in 6. This is insane. And it's 20-1. Yeah, that's going to really do a number for Jorge Mateo's ERA. May 26, 2022, the last time the Reds scored 20.
Well, this is embarrassing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean.
2-0 for Wins. 5-hit game now for Austin Wins. He had never had a 4-hit game in the big leagues, and he is 5 for 6.
Oh, this is kind of like slow pitch softball. That these guys are major league hitters.
You know, sometimes in these games where a team's just hitting the ball everywhere, the position player comes in, it messes with the swings, it slows down the bats. You have quick innings. Not here. The Reds are still as locked in as ever in this 8th inning. They've scored.
Well, they got 23.
5 more.
Yeah, 20 runs and 23 hits. And 8 walks.
8 walks.
Yeah.
Hit batter. And this is one of the best offensive days in the history of the Cincinnati Reds. And it is not over.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jorge's going to get the night.
Have you ever relieved a position player?
Have I?
No. Well, I mean,
No.
it's okay. So Mateo gets the 8th.
I mean, honest to goodness, it might be Gary Sanchez in the ninth. We'll see.
Well, he's got a terrific. Well, so does Mateo, though.
Ball 4 to Friedel, and the Reds have batted around for a 2nd time in the game.
I bring in Gunnar. You know, Gunnar doesn't like to do anything poorly. He'd be bringing it.
So it's been 4 years since the Orioles have allowed 20. That was against the Blue Jays, September of 2021. Matt McLean batting. He singled in the inning. 2-0. And there's just no way out of this. This is baseball. You cannot wave the white flag. Time's not going to run out on you. You can't walk off the field. You got to get your way through it. I don't know if there's a life lesson somewhere in there, but the lesson today is that the Reds have just been dominant, and the Orioles are going to have to find 4 more outs anyway, anyhow. By the way, the last time the Orioles gave up 20, Austin Wins and Austin Hayes started for the Orioles. I mean, what do you do here? Drew French is not going to come out and talk to Mateo. He's got to keep going.
Yeah. Has he run out of
mound visits?
trips?
Shockingly, there are 2 left. Espinal's already made it out in the inning. So if he makes 2 outs in this inning, he might be sent back to Louisville. He maybe just don't swing. Mateo is clearly having trouble commanding, and what was amusing is just turning into something rather uncomfortable. Deep to left field, and Santiago Espinal has just gone 0 for 2 in a 5-run inning. So there's that. There are runs in this baseball game. One team has some. the Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. And by PNC Bank, season start presented by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring. Sets 1865. 20-1 Cincinnati. This was a 1-1 game after 2, and the Reds are on a 19-0 run in a game that seems destined for Jason Stark's next Weird and Wild column. Gunnar Henderson trying to get his first hit of the game against former Indy baller Randy Wynn.
Yeah, you figured they throw out the bullpen because Lodolo with a paternity leave, he was supposed to pitch today. In fact, Jeff Brantley, I talked about the other day, he does their TV, good pitcher in his own right. He said, boy, you'll really like Lodolo. I said, no, I remember for a couple of years ago. Big, tall left-hander. So you figure you miss him, and then you get Brett Suter, who pitched great. And then meanwhile, the offense, pretty unbelievable afternoon.
Randy Wynn trying to end it for Cincinnati. He was not a professional until he was 26, undrafted. He was professional Indy baller, not with an affiliated team. It's been a pretty insane journey for him. He was a high school pitcher in San Diego. He thought he was going to get a D1 scholarship to a West Coast Conference school. Had an elbow injury, needed surgery. Said he needed Tommy John surgery, tried to throw through it for about a year. Wonderful piece by Rick Bozich, WDRB in Louisville. And so he went to JUCO for 2 years. Ground ball to short Espinal. From there, went from JUCO to Missouri Baptist, which is an NAIA school. So thought he was going to pitch in D1, had the stuff. Ends up going to junior college, then NAIA. Isn't drafted. He moved to suburban Phoenix and took a job selling pretzels at a Wetzel's Pretzels in the mall. He needed to do that, Randy said, to earn $2,000 to go to a tryout camp for independent league baseball. Lasted 5 innings with the Lake Erie Crushers, got released. He then went to the United Shore Professional Baseball League, which offered $600 a month. And this is a pretty amazing part of the piece. Again, this is his second big league appearance. 2 years ago, made one. Rutschman to right field. That ball is crushed. And that is a much needed swing for Adley Rutschman. 0 for 19 coming into today. He's got a 2-hit game and his 4th home run of the season. Well, even given the score, Jim, a big at-bat for Adley Rutschman to break out of this.
Well, this is pretty much like a week ago Saturday when he tied the game up against the Jays with a 28-foot home run. This one headed out there.
Well, Hearn grounds out on the next pitch. We'll pause the Randy Wynn story. We can get back to that. Tommy Joseph was asked about Adley Rutschman before the game today, Orioles assistant hitting coach. He said, I am not at all worried about Adley. Adley is taking great at-bats. Adley is one of the best catchers in baseball. I am not concerned. The expected numbers for Adley have been just significantly better than the actual numbers. Been hitting the ball hard. Now Mountcastle goes out to right in the sun. Dunn will put it away. So a little sprout here through the concrete. Adley Rutschman with a long home run, number 4 on his season. Catch Orioles baseball anytime, anywhere on the Madison app. Live games, expert analysis, and exclusive pre- and post-game interviews, all in the palm of your hand. Don't miss a pitch. Go to MASNsports.com and download the app today. Jorge Mateo's day on the mound is complete. 1 inning, 5 runs, and the Orioles turn to their second position player pitcher of the game, and it's Gary Sanchez. 1 pitch, 1 out against Austin Hayes, who's stuck at 4 hits and a walk. So the first professional pitching appearance for Jorge Mateo, and now the first such appearance for Gary Sanchez.
That's right. He just Gretzky'd him. Number 99.
Gary throwing hard, 83 here.
Well, didn't I think last inning that he would be the guy who would come in? See, look at this.
I tell you what, pretty good mechanics. He's always been a hard thrower behind the plate.
Whoops. Forget that breaking ball.
He just shook off. He just shook off 4 times. What is he doing? What is he doing? He's getting outs. That's what he's doing. He just shook off Adley 4 times.
I guess they don't get along.
I think Adley flashed some signs.
Well, they don't have the pitch comp, apparently.
Gary looks very serious. Yep. Yeah, Adley's giving him signs.
Oh.
What is that?
That's
Sweeper?
Kevin, it's 20-2. You can call it anything you want.
Jim, that had some serious sweep to it. Come on.
Oh, it did.
Look, he's changing speeds.
That's right. Up and in, low and away. Soft, hard.
I mean, this is actual, for a position player, this is actual real pitching, not just lobs. I appreciate that at least. That's a lob.
Oh, come on,
Trip Gibson, public enemy number 1. Adley tried to frame it. That is the 11th walk for the Cincinnati Reds. Morton walked 4, 2 1/3, gave up 7. Poteet walked 2 and 2 2/3. Perez 2 in 2 innings. Mateo 2. Started with a scoreless first. Since then, the Reds have scored in every inning but the 6th.
Yeah, well, there are 2 walks in the first. And Charlie Martin was able to get out of it. Yeah, Sanchez looks like one of, in the old days, Boog had a great knuckleball. Nick Markakis, who was a terrific pitcher in high school, they'd all be throwing. Terry Crowley was one of the best high school pitchers in Staten Island. So everybody has a little bit of a, pitching background.
I'm just going to go ahead and send out the bat signal now for any one of our great baseball writer, nerd, fact-finding friends. Sarah Langs, Jason Stark, anybody out there. Blake Dunn has now been hit by a pitch from 2 different position players.
That's got to be a first.
I mean, got to be. If that's ever happened, I want to know. I'm not going to, 2 outs in the 9th, but somebody's got to have the answer to that. That's insane. Marte, fair ball.
Wow.
Well, Noelvi Marte certainly not going to forget this game. He now has a 5-hit day, and he's driven in 7 runs. Grand slam off Mateo in the 8th, and a ribby double in the 9th, and that punctures Gary Sanchez's perfect ERA. And now Austin Wynns having the best day of his major league life.
Well, how many guys in the history of the Reds have had 6-hit days? That's probably not a whole lot.
Probably the guy who's number 14 is on the jersey patch this year, Pete Rose.
Well, they had a lot of guys that, let's see, Perez is in the Hall of Fame, Bench is in the Hall of Fame, Morgan's in the Hall of Fame, Pete's not in the Hall of Fame.
Austin wins left center field. Can you believe this? It's a 6-hit game for Austin Wins. His 2 best hit days in the major leagues had combined for 6 hits, and he's 6 for 7 in his second game ever against the Orioles. This is just absolutely stupefying stuff. It's 24-2. My goodness. Crazy. Just plain crazy.
It is.
$1999 is the last time the Reds scored 24, and Austin Wins has just tied the Cincinnati record with 6 hits. I'll give you the full name of people when we come back. Well, that's an unusual line score. 24-2. The Reds have scored 9 in the last 2 innings against 2 different position players pitching. One of the best offensive days in the history of this franchise, which dates back to 1882. Jordan Westburg, left field, off the wall. That's off the wall. The music started playing for a home run.
Yeah, I thought that, like, he blistered it. Home run yesterday on a breaking ball. And another double.
So his first 2 doubles of the year have come today. All right, here's the list of Cincinnati Reds with 6 hits in a game. Austin Wins is the 5th ever to do it. First was Tony Cuccinello in 1931. This is at least since 1901. If it happened before then, we don't know. Tony Cuccinello, 1931. Ernie Lombardi, the Hall of Famer, in 1937. Walker Cooper in 1949. And then Phil Irvin in 2019 against Colorado. So Pete Rose never had a 6-hit game as a Red. Johnny Bench never had a 6-hit game as a Red. Joe Morgan never had a 6-hit game. Tony Perez never had a 6-hit game as a Red. Austin Wins has tied the Reds record. What can you say about that other than this is an insane, wonderful, weird, illogical, unthinkable, unfathomable, unpredictable, stupefying, crazy, outrageous,
bizarre
sport.
Yeah, we can throw a lot of adjectives in there. And again, it was a bullpen day. You figured Charlie Morton's going to pitch up to his capabilities. He's a starter against their bullpen. You know, they lost 11-7 on Thursday before they came here. You figured they might be a little tired. they pitch great and they get 25 hits, 24 runs.
And they are going to end the day, unless the Orioles score 22 in a row, too shy of the Reds record, June 4th, 1911, when the Reds won 26-3 against the Boston Rustlers.
That's the dead ball era.
Yes. George Ferguson gave up 6 without getting it out in that game. Cliff Curtis gave up 6 and 3 runs, and then the great Jiggs Parson allowed 14 in 5 innings. And Cincinnati won 26-3. Reds have scored 24 now, 3 times. May 13th, 1902. That was against the Philadelphia Phillies. And then May 19th, 1999 against Colorado, and today. And Ramon Urias flies out, and the Orioles down to their final out. Anyway, the last part of the Randy Wynn story we'll get in now is when he was going to play for a $600 a month league. He called his dad. He said, "I'm maxing out my credit cards. I have enough money for one more flight. Do I fly home or do I fly to a startup league in Michigan?" And his dad said, "You have more ball in you?" And he said, "I did." He said, "Well, go to Michigan." And he kept playing in indie ball. He pitched there for 3 more years and then signed with the Reds on Father's Day 2019. 4 years later in the big leagues. So special for him. He gets to be a major leaguer, his 2nd career game, and 1 strike away from getting a save. Laureano with a tapper to Espinal, and it'll be an infield hit. Westberg back in there at third. So Laureano has his first hit of the game. So Cedric Mullins with an infield single back when this game was 0-0. It was 1-1 after 2. It is no longer that. Pretty amazing story, though, the Randy Wynn story.
Right.
You have these incredible stories all over baseball, even in a game like this.
Well, how about Austin Wynn? Another guy that's persevered over the years, and he ends up getting 6 hits.
Boston didn't play for the Orioles in 2020. He played in 18-19. He came back, was a part of the 21 team. And today he ties the Cincinnati Reds record, 6 hits in a game. Played against his old team. Just a crazy, crazy day of baseball. Mullins to right field. Hoping that'll stay fair. It will not. Orioles have the day off tomorrow. Good time for a day off. Maybe best time for a day off ever. And then they go to Washington for a 3-game series starting Tuesday night with Dean Kramer on the mound. Another 1-2. Strike 3. Randy Wynn ends a historic day for the Cincinnati Reds. And for the Orioles, a day they hope to immediately forget. Reds scored more runs than the Orioles. That's the final score we'll give you. Austin wins with a 6-hit game, tying the Cincinnati record, and the Reds take 2 of 3 in the series. So Adley Rutschman with a home run, but obviously not a lot of bright spots for the Orioles here. Reds win at 24-2, and it's a day off tomorrow before Tuesday at DC. Mel, we'll send it to you for Rose Extra.
Kevin, for the Orioles today, they're going to be pretty happy to have that off day tomorrow and get a reset here. A tough loss in the series finale as they wrap up the homestand. This one went all the way of the Reds. We'll take a look back at it with Jim Palmer. We'll hear from manager Brandon Hyde and more. The O's Extra postgame show is next.